and welcome to the FMSL podcast, episode 24. Unfortunately, this is the end of the cycle, of course. I'm glad to introduce for another time, not the last time, I promise, Mr. Christopher Rowe.
All right, Cam. Got here in the end, didn't we?
Chrissy. Yes, we did. We got here in the end. I mean, to be fair, I had a look on the YouTube before, and we've done this for 7 months from the start of our first episode. 7 months.
7 months. Wow.
And that was season 2 or 3?
Yeah.
Season 2?
Yeah, it was.
It was season 2. So it's been a long time. We've been going for a long fucking time. Yeah. It's quite sad that eventually the cycle is coming to an end.
It's been a good cycle, mate. It's been a good cycle.
Fucking mint, like I've got to say it's been mint. Like we've had so much good happening with it, even if I've not joined you all the way from League 2 to the Prem.
There was a part when you was just coming up, and then
I was getting there, and then it was. I followed a few final hurdles, but it's been a good cycle. I've got to say thank you to all of the managers who have been part of this cycle, because without them, there's no league. Whether they've left or not, there is no league for us to have. So I want to say thank you to everybody that's been involved, all the Indonesian lads, especially Rashmat and Yuda, like your gems. Obviously, from the start, we had John, who came back from very limited time only. Dogu as well, who came back, and then obviously the new faces who've left and came back, Ballant and Agalos, and everybody who stayed throughout the cycle or joined midway through. Thank you very much.
Didn't Alan start the first season, left, and then come back for the season?
I want to say he did, but genuinely, it was like that was like what 9 months ago now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It was Christmas last year when we started.
It would have been,
just before Christmas last year, we started the cycle. So that's how long it's been, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bit mental, really, but we've got there. Obviously, with the news of 25 becoming late, and obviously the video that I made about versus, it's kind of pointless now, because we're probably not going to have versus.
It's definitely put a down on things, I suppose to speak. It's not
100%. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Usually at this time of year, we're winding down on FMSL, and we're prepping for next season. But like you say, with the whole video to the verses and it not being in the game, I mean, to me, a bit of a blessing, only because we're gonna do another FMSL. But we'll talk about that later on. But yeah.
Yeah, so we'll actually jump straight into that actually, because it's worthy. So this graphic that you see here, ladies and gentlemen, is not what technically is happening, but again, obviously we've now only got 32 teams. So Chrissy obviously is part of the admin team, so he can kind of run through what's you can sort of run through what we're doing in a basic sense, because I don't think you even know what's going on. So let's give everybody a little bit of insight.
Are you on about what's coming on, what we're doing, like starting next week?
Yeah, start next week.
Right. So obviously, people that play FM, I should hope do as well watching the channel. We're doing a new Champions League format. So what we're going to do is have 32 teams come into one league, and so you were playing. I think I want to say 8 or 12 opponents across the different leagues, and it's been so you won't play the people that you played in the league the season before. You'll be playing different teams from different leagues. Just to try and make it a little bit more fun. Obviously, originally FM25 was going to get released in roundabout now, I suppose, wouldn't it be? It would have been released.
Well, no, probably in the next week or so.
It would have been next week. or the week after, whatever it was. Anyway, so now we're trying to do this just to keep people involved and till it comes out. But now with it getting put back till March, the admin team decided that we're going to start a new cycle with an updated database. So yeah, it'll be good. It'll be intriguing. They're still up in the air what way we're going to do it. There's been talk of 22 player drafts. There's been talk of trying to do it like we normally do it. There's been like carrying on from this. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to find out what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
So keep your eyes peeled and your
I'd
ears
prefer
open.
we're starting. Yeah, I mean, I'd prefer we're starting from where we are now. But obviously, other people aren't as jovial about regens as I am. But I think, in hindsight, I think if we start as we normally start, I think that is the better option. I think 22 player drafts is just a
Yeah,
waste of time,
yeah, I
waste
agree.
of
I agree.
everybody's time. Because I
I
think
mean, if
if
we
we're
can get
gonna,
an updated, there's plenty updated databases out there
yeah,
that have started from this season that we're currently in IRL. So
yeah,
there's definitely ways of doing it. I know
yeah,
there's been talk of trying to grade the teams and stuff like that, but I mean,
I would agree with
for
that.
me, 22 player drafts. If you want to do that, play draft mode, man. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, I think I agree with that, and I think doing a doing it as we are, I think works to a
Yeah,
way.
I
I think
think.
it works.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We all love the draft, but the internals is what makes it a community. Do you know what I mean? You get. I mean,
Yeah,
mate, you know yourself. The first window when we've all got brand new teams, we're trying to buy players that are probably a tiny bit better than what they're what. Well, it's not
yeah,
even that. Sometimes it's just for name value because we like that player IRL. It's not
yeah,
necessarily it's going to make the team any better because the teams are relatively even. So yeah,
yeah.
I love the.
It would be nice to see some updated teams.
Oh yeah,
Preferably, teams that have already got good players. So
mm,
I'm not talking Champions League value, but I'm talking like Newcastle's, your West Ham's, your Brighton's, your Villas, like sort of that region. I think I think you're looking at that
I
like any
think
kind
what
of
the
Europa League or just outside. I
yeah
think because we're not going to have time to
yeah.
bring like if we think about it, we're probably going to get what maybe 3 seasons, four max.
Well, that's the thing as well. I mean, if it comes out in March as it's going to be, we're not going to have verses anyway. So
Yeah,
it's what do you do? Do you keep the 32 teams and try and keep people playing? Because as soon as FM25 is out, people lose interest. Unfortunately, that's naturally. I do. I'll be the first to admit. Your new flashy, shiny game. You want to give it a go? Oh, you toss the other one to the side. You know what I mean? But we'll have to see how it goes, mate. I do like that idea because I do think the cycle will be shorter. So I think having a bit better teams, you know what I mean? You got a bit more quality in there straight away.
yeah,
You're not trying because most of us don't really have a proper team till what second, third season because we're
yeah.
trying to
Second,
build
third,
and we've got to
fourth season
revamp all this
sometimes.
shit.
Yeah, and it's getting rid of the players who
Don't get me
you
wrong,
don't
I enjoy that.
want.
I do enjoy that. I do enjoy
Yeah,
the the communication with the managers and the do you know what I mean? The
yeah,
socializing aspects aside, but the interactive aspect. You do 22-man drafts, that gets thrown away straight away. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. It
You don't
does.
get that. You don't get that. You might as well
Yeah,
play draft mode. But anyway,
yeah.
we could do a whole
I
pod.
think that's part of it. Yeah, we could, and I think we probably will at some point. But moving on to the end of last season, so we had
Oh,
prepped to do this podcast last week or the week before,
mm.
and we didn't end up doing it, and we just
We're
thought,
busy
why not just
people.
roll down
We're
the one? We're
busy
busy people,
people.
we've got lives, we've got it. Well, I say I've got a life, I don't. But moving on, so we do have the Prem, and there is one glaring obvious thing for everybody. Chrissy did win the Premier League. He
I'm
made
on.
it back to back to back to sort of back to back. Um, championships, and I'm pretty proud of Chrissy because he's done it. I mean, it was only by a point, which is not by his usual standards, and he did lose 4 games, which again is not by his usual standards.
It was tight.
But
It was
he
tight.
did win, and obviously, as you can see here, there was no playoffs, no nothing, because obviously we're moving into the new league, so it was just about whoever got first. So Nance did win the title. James at Union Berlin, unfortunately, did go down, if that's what you want to call it. He finished in last place.
Bottom of the league.
Then obviously, yeah. And then Girona won the championship. Congratulations to Anish. Now, he says we don't talk about him enough on this podcast, and I'm not going to let him get away with that. So, yeah, I know.
Who?
I know. So, some bloke over, I don't know, wherever he is.
Some MF.
So, we'll talk about. So we'll talk about Anish a bit. So Anish has obviously flirted with the Premier League and back to the Championship and things like that. So, I mean, in all honesty, good manager, knows his stuff. But
yeah, he is. He is a good manager. I can't knock Anish, and he's proven it this season. I mean, you look at that. He's won 10, drawn 1, lost 3. What's that goal difference of 15, 12, 15?
13.
13. That's class. And that's a tough league. You've got Kev from Santos, who all right.
Kev, who comes straight up from League One.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He didn't have the best of cycles. He'll probably tell you that himself. Yeah. But he worked his way back up. A bit late, bit of a what's the word? A bit of a
late bloomer.
Late, yeah, that's it. Late bloomer. That's the word.
Late bloomer for a man who's in his like 150th year on this planet. I think he's done all right, hasn't he?
Yeah. And then you got teams like Craig. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that is like I think that is honestly the hardest league out of all of them. And I'm not saying the Premier League is not hard, but I think that's the toughest league in this whole thing because everybody is so on par and so on level. Like there's not one person. I mean, in fairness to Lewis, like I'll give him his due. He's finished bottom of the league with 10 points, which is pretty good. But I managed his squad last year. And he's unfortunately every time there seems to be a window, he's on holiday, or he's moving house, or something happens, and he just doesn't seem to have the window that he should have. If that makes sense, he should have a much better window. But he does a job, and he's got a very good team. Like on paper, you look at that team and you go Premier League.
Yeah, easily. I thought that.
Yeah, but you know. Obviously, moving on to League One now, we're getting through this quite quickly because we've got a lot to share with everybody. Haaland FC. Even though Haaland scored less goals than Alexander Isak over at Anderlecht, he still managed to win the league.
You haven't mentioned that.
I know. I haven't mentioned that in negotiations at all. But that was a very tough league up until the last week or so. I think we're all pretty much on level points at one point, and that last week I think we're within like a 2-point difference or something. And there was 3 of us all within a 2-point difference, and it was very tough. And for me personally, it was very tough to get out of that league. I mean, I won games I shouldn't have won, and I lost games I shouldn't have lost. And looking at it, but congratulations to Courtney. He's finally got out of the league, even though it doesn't matter anymore.
He's got that trophy, baby.
He's got the trophy, and to be fair to him, I'll give him it because it was fucking tough going in that league. And obviously, looking at that top 3, obviously, you remember every top.
Go on, sorry.
Every top 3 in that league gets into the Super Cup thing at the end of the season. So especially in this season as well, it counts more than divisional cups and things like that. Like it worked quite well. So we've done very well to get to that point. And obviously Alan, who most people probably had tipped as winning the league as the manager that he is, he had a clear out, as he does every year, and I'll give him credit for it because he's got no attachment to any players like anybody else does. He sold up, bought what he wanted, and finished bottom of the league. But his squad was good enough to finish probably 3rd, 4th. So I think it's fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah, he had a good team, definitely.
But, you know, Now what?
I
Now
think
on the
that's.
mighty Anderlecht.
I think they're all tough at this point. I mean, all right. I'm gonna be honest, and no hate at all. Apart from League Two, all right, they're all quite competitive leagues.
Yeah.
I mean, again, no offense to anyone. I mean, you can see by that 6 points gap, Kev's romped it. Do you know what I mean? Because apart from, well, I suppose 5 points in League One, it's just it fizzles down. I say it all the time, and it's just yeah. But mate, finishing third's not bad.
Yeah, I
think
mean, to be honest, I think I should have went up the season before in the playoffs. I think I had two chances at play. I've had two chances at playoffs this cycle, especially in League One, and I've just lost it through different ways of one or another, and it's been tough. Like obviously, I had Celtic in the first one, and then I think I had Dan in the second, and not last season, but the season before, and it was really hard. It was such a game. And Dan's a good gaffer. Like he knows his stuff, and
yeah, he does.
yeah, he just set up in a way that was just undefendable, and it just was what it was. But you know, we move on. Obviously, League Two, big
Enough
Kev.
said. Enough said. Well done, Kev.
Enough said. Obviously, like I think it's pretty harsh on Andy as well, to be honest, because
he's all right.
Andy's done. No, I know, but Andy over this cycle has actually proved everybody wrong. We all thought he'd finish on less than double digits. I think the season before, I think he got 23 points, or the season before that, and he worked his socks off, and he's pulled some good transfers out. And this year, he's got some even better transfers. I mean, he got Niles starting goalkeeper for free. He's got some good players there to move on and progress. So hopefully he doesn't do what he did in the last when the new cycle comes. So he doesn't do what he did last time and buy 10 internals, because he needs to draft rather than, even though it give me a chunk of change, but you know what I mean, it ruined his cycle.
Yeah, we said that. We've always said early doors you need to be concentrating.
And special mention to Steve for not finishing bottom for the second season running. I think that's always important that somebody else is there every season.
Yeah.
But yeah, Darren as well. I'll give Darren his due. Darren's just he picked up last season. He got a lot of wins, a lot of draws, and it's pulled him up a bit. And he got into the Super Cup as well, which we'll get on to in a bit. But
you forget Darren in his first season, then he made it to the Prem. He went 5 to make it to the Prem. He was quite unlucky.
And he just decimated like Jimmy did. So moving on, FMSL Cup. We've only included certain brackets of different cups just because it's easier. It's massive. So obviously FMSL Cup, we can see who the winner is, but looking at them two games as well, Kev versus Niall, Almira versus Hoffenheim, and obviously AZ versus Royal Antwerp. Ballon obviously didn't have the best of time against Dan. And
he wouldn't have done.
He wouldn't have done because Dan's a top gaffer. He should be in. I think, like we said this pretty early on, we think Dan should be in the Prem because he's just a solid manager.
I think it's just always have a bit of luck going your way, and I think same for yourself. Do you know what I mean? It just hasn't gone that way. But yeah, well,
steady. We don't want to talk about me being in the Prem. We did that once before. Many years ago, and I finished bottom with 4 points, and I had the best team.
But now, well done, Dan, for winning the FMSL Cup, mate.
Yeah, congratulations, mate. It's been spot on.
Even though, let's say, Dan's laptop actually broke midway through the season, so I played the majority of them games. So I got one hand on one side of the cup.
Don't try. Fuck off! Don't try and.
He said it. I got message evidence.
Right. So Heenan Cup. I've managed to get the last 16 in there. Obviously, we can see who the winner is, but we'll just go from the quarterfinal onwards, shall we? So, quarterfinal wise, Santos obviously beat Stuttgart. I beat Mark. You know,
just go very hard. No one cares about the quarters.
Yeah, well, a very hard match. I mean, it was.
Yeah, you just want to let everyone know that you beat Mark. That's all it is.
Hard. obviously you beat Simon, which again, tough draw. That's a tough draw. And then even then, like you're looking at this, right, and going, like from quarterfinals onwards, these are teams that you would expect, just based on the caliber of players, not managers, just the caliber of players to be in this position. Like if you let this season run it, if you let this run its course, if you simmed it with the groups and on and on and on, I think you'd expect, just because of the star ratings and the CA of each team, I think you'd kind of expect these teams to be in the mix at quarterfinal range.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, Luis beat James, and then obviously we both
Lewis
had a
beat me.
semi-final.
Battered him as
What
well.
was that match like? I can't actually remember.
Battered him. All over him. All over him. He got two goals. I can't really remember what happened. I weren't happy about it, but I like Lewis. He's a good manager.
You weren't happy about it because he ended up leaving the chat because you were fuming. I remember.
That was Jake. The song pissed me off. But anyway, I weren't bored about the game, just the expectation. But sometimes that's where FM goes. You can have 10 shots on target and they can have 3 and you can lose 2-1. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've all been there. We all know what FM's like. There's some things you can't control. You can attack, pile on that pressure. It just didn't work. Didn't happen that time. As you well know, we'll get to it in a minute. So I like how you keep them quiet about that.
Yeah. Obviously, Santos versus Anderlecht. I think that went to pens again, if I'm not mistaken. Both my quarter and semi went to pens. I fucking hate pens. I just walk away from the screen. I don't want to see it. I don't want anything. I don't want anything to do with it. Obviously, that final was tough. And Luis, I can't even remember, Pendrola or whatever he was called, whoever Luis had or has.
Pedro, I think he sold him, but
what a player!
Barcelona,
I fucking couldn't tell you because he's amazing, whoever he is, and he just completely obliterated us. I know, like I couldn't do anything. All the changes, everything, nothing. I think I scored 1 goal, which was a bit shitty, but it wasn't even worth getting excited about. Oh, I'm back in the game. I'm 3-1 down. But yeah, so the Heenan Cup was won by our friend Luis.
Yes, well, Luis, round of applause.
But moving on to the Super Cup again. Actually, I think this was the game where I had pens against Mark. Actually, I think I beat Mark.
Yeah, you did. You did because Mark messaged me.
And I will stress that Mark plays a very defensive system. Now, I don't care if you watch this, Mark. I don't care what you see in the chat, but it was a very defensive system that you had. And playing the 5 at the back with the 2 DMs.
The formation's defensive. The formation's defensive. But I don't think he plays. Look, the tactic isn't defensive. That makes sense. He does set up with 3 at the back.
Just
he does
set up with 2 players in front of your back 5 just grinds me.
It works, mate. He won the Prem.
The amount of people who did that after I said that on the podcast last time, I got absolutely done for with that. But
yeah, but
overall, I think you look at that.
You say that, but he beat Abdul, then he beat Lewis, and then he had you beat Harland FC. Fair enough, Courtney. But then you had Darren.
Then I walked past Darren.
Do you know what I mean?
And might as well have not played that game. Like, it was just fucking pointless. Sorry, Darren, but truth. I said what I said.
I literally played Magnus, then Kev straight after. Then I had to wait for Kev to play. Then I played Kev, and then straight away I went into you. And this was over the space of like 12 hours. So my momentum, I was buzzing. I was like, here we go. I'm gonna roll it. Like, and I was flying through the Prem Cup and that as well. Can't think I lost in the final of that and all. But anyway, I did.
And then obviously we played, and it was an interesting one. And it was 2-2 in the end of the game, wasn't it?
It was 1-1 at full time. Went to extra time. I scored not long on, and then 120 plus 1 Isaac equalises, and you know, as soon as
but what you forget to mention is there was a disallowed goal just before, about 4 minutes before that.
There was.
Um,
But the thing is, like
you were messaging me going, I'm fucked, yeah, I'm fucked.
Because I've played FM. I've played FM enough times to know when someone. It happened to me the other year with the other season when I played mains. I was all over him. It was like 4-3 in extra time, and he scored. It was like no, it was 5-3 in extra time, and he scored 2 goals in like the last 2 minutes. And he went and beat me on penalties, and I was like, as soon as you equalised, oh mate, I was fuming. But then, like, once I calmed down, I rung you, didn't I? And I was like, look, nah, the press was good.
You went nuts.
You went, oh yeah, mate, we're passionate people. Do you know what I mean? We're passionate people. We love this game, and that infuriates me. Though you look, and the thing is, it's not when you've built a team like that, like what I had. Look, you don't understand that. And the thing is, after I thought about it, I was like, well, Cam has actually got a 4.5-star team. Like, he's not a bad manager. He knows what he's doing.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay, but the team.
I know me way around. I'm like a League One manager in with a Champions League winning side. It evens out eventually, but it was tough and it was hard to take. For me, winning the cup against you, anybody else, it would have been totally fine.
Nah, but it was good. Like you said as well. Obviously, during and I think in my head, where I'd beat you like 6-1 or whatever it was, and 6-2.
6-2, yeah.
In my head, I was like, "This is going to be easy." Do you know what I mean? Like, no offense. Yeah, but no offense to you. I'm just saying, like, after that thinking, I was like, right, sounds. Because I was like, when I see you beat Mark, I was like, right, I need to get to this final because this is winnable. I know Mark will probably beat me because he does play that solid formation and whatever. He's a good manager, and we've had our battles best for another time. But yeah, I just knew I had to get to this final. And, like, hats off to you, mate. Champ. I'm proud of you.
It was hard to take, but a win's a win.
Yeah, that's it.
That is my second FMSL Super Cup. After Gary had beat me in the final and got caught cheating straight after. So, I mean, it's my second one. I'll take that. But team of the season, if you want to pause. I'm not going to spend any more fucking time on it. 3, 2, 1. Fuck off. But we will see very, very quickly in League One, if we look at the forward section, just the forward section. I don't care about the rest of it. It doesn't matter. The forward section. Alexander Isak, 15 goal contributions. Erling Haaland, 14. Apparently, that wasn't enough to sway Courtney.
You can't believe you use that as a tactic to buy players.
No, to buy Haaland. But that's another story. Anyway, if you want to pause, you know how to. I'm not going to stop.
Goals.
I'm not going to stop. Can't be bothered. Not going.
Usually we go through it, but like it's a bit pointless, isn't it? But there was some. Like,
especially with what we've got coming up. So obviously,
yes.
Just to reiterate, we do have the transfer window for season 7 right here, right now.
Ooh.
This is our team.
Look at the size difference,
mate. You don't need a lot when you got a good team. That's all I'm saying. You don't need to get rid of a lot.
They all know it's bigger in the south, mate. They all know it's bigger in the south.
Anyway, long story short, Chrissy basically got rid of me most of his.
Yeah, I had to clear out. Well, like I said to you before, it's the last cycle of this year, this FM 23-24 season. I was like, let's just go all out, mate. I built an amazing team. The streets will not forget, you know, Mbappe, Jude, James, Vinny J, Tchouaméni, Antonio Silva, the legends of the season, which is Coquette. Let's just get some respect to that man.
I'm not happy about that. I'm not.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but do you know what? That's another thing as well. Magnus is a good friend of ours on the pod. We talk to him all the time. He's a great lad, and he was like, "Oh, it started off. It started off with he wanted. He said, "Do you want to buy Gavi now? Then do you want to swap him?" And I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "Bellingham." I was like, "Nah, that's not happening." But then in hindsight, I'll probably give him quite a good deal. Probably too better deal.
But I mean, I don't
minute.
think it is. I mean, you got rid of Tchouaméni, Silva, and Cockott, which I think's pretty reasonable for what their CAs are and where they are in FM life at this point.
I've been waiting all year for Silva to get to 176, and he's finally got there, and then I fuck him off straight away.
Well, to be fair though, I think sometimes, especially with you last season, you're not as attached to players as me, so I've got a bit more. Especially with what I was trying to do as well. Especially with what I was trying to do as well.
But yeah, you say that, but I drafted Antonio Silva. That was one of my first picks. That was one of my first picks in at the start a year ago. Do you know what I mean? So I wanted to move on from it. I'd had enough. Not had enough, but yeah, he was one of Musiala, and I think it was him. He was my second overall pick. My second pick in the second round. But yeah, big window here, mate. Big window. I have just made my last signing. Yeah, well, a few hours ago now, but obviously this is before you did this.
Oh no.
Cole Palmer is in. All right, long story short, Darren messed up his deals.
That's it. As he does.
Yeah, I like he's a good lad. And I just said, look, he said, oh, look, I was like, I'll give you the rest of my budget. So I wanted to finish on zero. Everyone else, like a few other players, don't want to finish on zero. So I think it was like £54,786,333. He only needed 11 mil, but it's just a laugh, isn't it? So yeah, Cole Palmer's on there. But anyway,
I think you've done pretty well. To be fair, overall, I think you've done really, really well. For me, on my side,
Camavinga, Gavi, Mark Gui, Adeyemi, FM legends, not been that great this season. But then again,
Barreto, Milinkovic, Savage, Saka, Tell, Zaya Emery, Timber, Seaman, which always makes me laugh.
Yeah, I got Seaman. I got Seaman from Young Ballant. Don't cancel me. Dennis Seaman.
There we go. Yeah, but I mean, you did pretty well there. On my side of it, how do you think I did actually? It's a question I've not asked. How do you think I did?
You know what? I really like the Trent deal. Obviously, I see why you sold Livramento for the Trent reason. John Stone's not bad. Felix was a good price to sell off and get Gillette in as well.
I had to, yeah.
I didn't realise. It
was the only deal that was on the table.
I knew you bought Paul Wanner, but I didn't realise you swapped Casady as well. That's a good 20 mil for Kelvin. You paid a lot less than that when you first got him off the draft. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I've done pretty well, and obviously getting in Cannon Lee. I mean, to be fair, I will give Ballant his due. He said you can have him for free if you want, because he said he wanted a decent price, and I says, look, this is my budget, but you said in about an hour and a half ago, you said he was free, so there's a bit to be had there. We had a back and forth, and he said, well, you can have Malin or Cannon Lee. And I looked at them, had a look, and I had to speak to Rashma.
Do you know what the thing is?
He's an assist king. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's class. He's class. But Ballant wasn't in debt. Ballant wasn't in debt. I don't know why he did that.
Well, no, he was. Well, technically, at that time he was. But he had over thingied his squad by one player, so he needed rid of one of them. Yeah. So it was more of a courtesy to give him the 11 mil.
Yeah,
as well.
Nice.
I was like, well, I want to finish on 0 as well. Like, I think I was one of the few that did finish on 0.
Well, now
Because I
obviously
just went,
once
fuck
that
it.
deal's
Like,
gone through, the Cole Palmer one, it'll be me,
you
you.
will be on 0.
I'm pretty sure Mark did. Mark, Craig, John Dunn, and Alan. Alan also finished on 0.
Alan finished on 0 pretty well, to be fair. Like, he knew what he was
Yeah.
doing. Moving on from this,
Yeah, go
we'll have a
on.
look at our draft picks. So we can decipher these. You can decipher mine, I'll decipher yours. We'll
Yeah,
go
go on.
through that route. So, Gabrielle, for the price you paid, fair
I
fuck.
regret that was a
He was
panic
like
buy. That was
156 ish, I think, in
156. Yeah,
CA. 156 in CA, and I just thought that's good. He was on my list, and you knew he
it
was
was a
on my list.
It was a panic buy.
Could have got Martinez for like 103, like, but I mean.
Nah, do you want me to tell you the truth?
Go on.
The player that I was originally wanting to draft is the player beneath Gabriel. However,
Oh no, I've got to go and look at this and tell everybody. Hang on. Wait there. Hold your horses, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yes, but you had a duty of care. I've just twigged.
I was on about here on the page.
I know. I didn't realize that I was actually, even though I
Yeah,
did the
I wanted.
didn't realize.
I obviously sold
Silver.
Fish Bash the new gen to Simon because he was in a new gen team, and so looking at Sven Botman, I was like, left footed, he's a beast. But you said it, and I was like, look, you're a Geordie boy. I weren't going to take you, man. I know how much you wanted him. Gabriel's good. He does a job. But as you'll see when you come down the thing, my first pick is actually a bench player.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, you did pretty well there. And then obviously, you know who I've got because we're in the next pick. You sort of helped that on its way. You did my draft for me because I wasn't around.
Mm-hmm.
So you picked Botman. I think overall good assessment for my team.
Yeah,
Like as
it
you
fits your
say,
team really well.
He fits my team. He fits that left side of the road pretty well. I can play him on cover. He fits the bill for what I want to play, for the style of football I want to play as well. He fits that quite well.
Yeah.
And then obviously Ryan Cherky. I mean, for me, he's there.
Yeah, he's just a player. Like when remember the beta come out, obviously this time last year. I had a save with Leon, and he was on there.
He's good.
And he was just class for me. And what I like about him is it says preferred foot. It says either. So do you know what I mean? It's just yeah.
Especially for an attacking player, that's more.
And
than...
again, my first two picks, they're bench players. They're not going to start in my team, but the second two picks are going to start in my team. I don't know why I did it that way. Maybe it's because with Gabriel, I was looking for the. But the plan was to always. If I wanted the one that Kim Ming Jae, that was the plan to get him first. If I got him first, or someone the Gabriel price range, I could have got Shirky. I don't know why I draft people that I can't pronounce the name of. And I wanted to get Darwin Núñez. Chris Cavella. Thank you. And I wanted to get Darwin Núñez, but Craig, being Craig, took his boy. Didn't let anyone else have a go. So, yeah. And then for ages, I was like, I don't know who to draft next. And Saliba was always going to be my first pick, and I had enough money, so...
Well, if he's still there on the board in round 3, I think that's a bonus. But we'll just run through these dead quick. So we've got Chris Cavella that you've... I mean, that's a substantial fee. I think that is the biggest fee paid outside of transfer window 1 for a player in the draft, I think. So fair fucks, he got the money to. I signed Joe Linton because I needed a midfielder and I thought it'd be funny. That is generally the only reason, and that I can play him, Miley, and Tonali all in one midfield at one point. So I
Hog on
did
the
it in a
time,
friendly,
baby.
and
Hog on the
I
time.
did it in a friendly, and I just thought it was dead funny. Like I don't know why I played Jake in a friendly yesterday. He beat us like 5-0, and I just thought, right, okay, I've played the midfield I want. We'll just have a bit of a laugh. I wasn't bothered because it wasn't the team that Kev sent, so I wasn't bothered.
Yeah.
So it was interesting watching it, and I beat Jake. I think I can't actually remember. I might have drew with him. Don't remember. I wasn't really paying attention. I was just more laughing at the fact I had Joe Linton, Miley, and Tonali in the same midfield in FMSL rather than
Quality.
on Newcastle save. And then jumping in around 3, you drafted because the people that I wanted weren't available because of the people who took them. Fuck you, Louis. So we die. Was here Hubert.
See,
Was what he drafted. And to be honest, after looking at him deeply and going into analysis on Thursday morning, I looked at him and thought, yeah, he's a good player. He's worth it. You know what I mean?
yeah. Do you know what? Do you know what? You said to me, an attacking player under 21. He was breakthrough prospect. The fact that he'd been at Inter Milan since, I know he's a new gen, but he's been there this time. 13 caps for Switzerland, 7 goals at 21, finishing 16, heading 17, technique 16, off the ball 14. Do you know what I mean? All right, he's not the fastest, but he's got jump reach 14, anticipation 16. For a player who probably won't play, but if you need him desperately to bring him on and do a job up front, if
He does
Isak goes
replace
down,
Savage
I
as
think
well. So
he's a good little player, mate.
yeah, he will get a game. I'm determined because I've got 2 good goalkeepers to play one side in one game and one side in the other game, with at least
And
2 players, 1 or 2 players playing in both games.
all
So
right, so I was looking at some of his hidden stats as well. And all right, professionalism 18, which would have been perfect if you was we had another season, because he's got a PA of 163, so it's quite high. 141 now. The player you wanted was 143, was it 145, something like that?
yeah, he didn't really have as much as.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
there's something
this
like that anyway.
Hoover, all right, consistency 8, but if we can look past that, because he's not going to be playing for long. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to be playing for long. Important matches, 18. 18 important matches.
So you know who's starting the cups if we have any this year. Then
Well,
we know
we'll
who's
think
starting
about it as well. All these new games we'll be playing, there will be one legged. So it's basically a final every game.
Yeah. He might come on 60th minute if he's actually not doing the business. Then obviously Saliba, we've talked about Saliba already. Solid pick.
I had money to spend
Can't go
and I needed a
wrong.
defender.
You've got money to spend. There's no.
The
fact he still had 50 odd million left over at the end of the draft is still a mystery. But yeah, I know. So moving on to totals of what everybody spent. So I've spent 3,834,600,000. That was a botch, but that's how much I've had over this total. So you can see by the arrows of that is the total of what we've calculated. The next column along is net spend. You can work that out as much as you want. And that was the budgets that we finished on. So you can see that the budget in green that Chrissy's got at the bottom there, the bottom right hand side, is what he paid for Cole Palmer to the penny. So it is interesting. So we just we go from there really. As much as this is like not a screen to analyze, it's more the point of look at that prize money difference. For me, it was a look at the prize money difference. The fact that you have got a hell of a lot more than me in prize money and in sales, and I think that's more down to you. Is that the sales is more down to you as a manager, but like the prize money is just insane.
I mean, yeah, but if you have an extra mil there, it looks. I think it looks more because it's 599. If that was an extra mil,
if I have another 750 grand, it works a little bit more than whatever. But it's still 164 million more. Do you know what I mean? Like without sugarcoating it, it's 160 million. Like it's 146 million more. So it's a lot. But I
It's a
mean,
lot.
to be fair, it was what it was, and you've done well. And I want to
Mm,
congratulate you on all of your success because
thank you, mate. Thank you.
it is what it is.
Proud.
And obviously, if anybody wants to pause and look at the screen, which who might not be in the league, if you want to pause, have a look, take in the whole
That's it.
thing. Feel
It is a
free.
stat sheet with numbers on. It's just, it
You might
is
be into that. You might be
Excel.
not.
It is Excel. It is waffle. Unless you understand it all. I mean, there's things at the top that say what's what. Um,
Yeah.
do you know what? I think for the outsider, when you first look at it, you're like, "What the fuck?" But there's a lot gone into this league, and I think this here, that way, no, that way, just
Yeah.
shows the effort and the time, and I mean that goes into this league.
Yeah.
I just, oh mate,
If anybody's seen the
I'm
full
gutted. I'm
sheet,
gutted about FM25, but I'm just so relieved that it's
it's
going to
over
carry on
nearly.
for a little bit longer at least.
Yeah. And I mean, looking at the sheet as well, like it's not like it's totally alien to some people.
Oh
But
no,
I mean,
once
looking
you
at
get your
that,
head
like
around
I
it,
mean, there's only one person who's got over 2 billion in sales. Only one person. And then you look at
Simon.
Augsburg, there's only 600,000 in sales. Like that is the lowest. Like everybody's pretty much apart from Courtney because he won't sell Haaland, who's actually less, I believe, than yes, he's less. The least amount in sales is Courtney. So sorry,
That really,
Darren.
that really surprises me that Simon's Simon's done 2 million in sales. That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean the fact that he's got 2 billion in sales and then you've got somebody who's only got 500 million is insane. But I think that just because John, oh no, it was Doggo, yeah, it was Doggo who took who did that draft, and we're all betting him to sign Haaland, and then from that he actually bought quite well. He bought Arda Güler, he bought a few other players, and he built a good necessary squad. And then Courtney's not had to sell because he's done well and made the money because of Haaland, and it's kind of a knock-on effect of that because he still spent but what? You spent what 500 million? No, how much you say? You still spent 1 billion quid.
Mm,
So at the end of the day, you did quite well. I think
yeah,
looking at that overall, I think that's a good assumption of the league, and I think we've done quite well with that. We have. We've done quite well, and
yeah,
every
definitely.
year there's a different milestone. For me, it was making at least 2 billion in in spent because I've never done that before. But next year it's going to be right. How can I get to 2 billion in sales? Like, do you know what I mean? It's drafting right. It's then buying right and then selling again and then drafting right. It's very
I think
all there.
yeah,
But I'm looking
that's what
forward to it.
that's what I've always tried to do. Uh, Luckily on the sheet we have historic deals. So if I'm in a negotiation with someone, um, I'll always try and sell my player higher for what I drafted for. It might not be a lot, but I always want to make profit within
But
reason.
sometimes you have to sell. But sometimes you
Oh
have to
yeah,
sell
no,
lower. Like
definitely.
I have this season, you have, and I mean they're saying Mitrovic for 30 million
Mm,
like last season, and then this season I've had to give him away for 8 million quid because the market's not there. But I think
no.
that's just depending on the cycle. And I mean, I've already, as I see as to Niall and a few others, like I've already got my list drafted up with who I'm signing next year. Oh, sorry, next cycle. I've already got my list of who I'm drafting because depending on whether we use a new database or not, which we probably will, I've still got my ones who I'm going to draft because they are my boys.
Mm.
So I've got my list, and nobody else will probably draft them. There's a very slim possibility of at least two or three that will not get drafted.
It's always the way,
Mainly
innit?
Donny van de Beek because nobody is going to try and sell him like I will and I don't care saying that on this podcast because people aren't going to watch this, so it doesn't really matter. But two,
No.
if anybody gets this far away and goes, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to really piss off Cam and saying Donny Van de Beek," it's fine. I'll just go and sign James Milner. Not a problem, because nobody's going to want to go and sign James Milner. So there's that and that. You know what I mean? But
Don't
like
ever
for
change,
me, at
bro.
the end of the day, I'll never change. You know my boys, but I think that is the end. And we did have. Well, I had asked a dear friend to record his song, one off his album, for us today, because it did make a slight difference to this, but it's not coming time, so unfortunately we'll not be getting it. But
No.
it is the end, as he says, and you know, in the end, the sun does go down, and you know, it's the end of everything, really, isn't it? It's the end of the cycle. It's the end of it. It is the end of everything. So if anybody does want to go and check out that song, use the lyrics, go and find it. Not my problem. I'm not telling you who it is. But yeah, it's been the end. Obviously, we will do a few more podcasts before the end of the cycle. We'll do a big end of season podcast. Hopefully, get some guests on like we have previously. Even if it's just a few, we'll get some guests on and
Yeah,
we'll
come on. Come
live it
on,
up. But
boys.
yeah, you know, we got to give it to us, boys. We got to give it to us. But thank you very much to Mr. Christopher Rowe for joining me on this
Cheers, Cam.
momentous The
Sorry it
End
took so long.
podcast. It's
We know we keep saying it. Obviously, we both got busy lives. Cam's started a new job. Well, he's not started it, but he has started it. But
well, yeah, I'm
he's
trying to be.
he's doing his and he's got another job. Do you know what I mean? And he's very busy at the moment. I'm busy myself as well with family and work, stuff like that. As well as we got to get in our games and sort out the transfer windows and stuff like
We will
that.
make
But
this more regular.
we will be bringing
promise
more
to you.
content. We will be making more of an effort because we enjoy doing this as well, don't we?
Yeah,
we?
we do, and that's the whole reason we do this is because we enjoy it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be bothering for nearly 2.5 hours. Or well, sorry, probably what like 52 minutes and 39 seconds for you. But you know, we'll gloss over that. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you very much, Christopher.
Cheers, brother.
For joining
See you soon.
this. We love you and take care. So this is the end. Episode 24. Thank you very much for everybody who's watched and been a part of this league. Massive shout out to the admins again. This league isn't a league without you, and this whole thing isn't real without you. So thank you very much. And obviously everybody who's participated in the league, whether you left, 2020 or 2021, 2022, 2023, if you've left then, thank you very much for still making this league possible. Thank you to everybody who's been involved this year. This is the last dance, as James Bond said to me before. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you somewhere down the road. Take care.